Hello, and welcome to our latest episode of Beyond 6 Seconds. I'm really happy to have everybody here listening and very excited to have my guest here. Her name is Connie Inukai, and she is a person who has really demonstrated in many different ways the art of pivoting, particularly in business and in life. So after retiring from teaching, where she was a writing professor at the University of Maryland and Johns Hopkins University, Connie invented a product called the Tip and Split, a handheld device with a magnifier, light, tip calculator, and a bill splitter. And her book, How I Got My Product on QVC, The Today Show, The View, and more in retirement, has helped inventors get publicity for their inventions. Now, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit this year, she used the time in lockdown to do something positive. She chronicled her life story so that her grandchildren will know about her. And she now helps others write their stories. So during this pandemic, Write Your Selfie was born. Connie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. It's so nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you too. I'm really interested to learn about your journey from, being a professor to becoming an inventor and pivoting so many times, even in retirement. So I guess to start off, what inspired you to become an inventor?
I was a college professor, and I taught engineers and computer scientists how to write reports. Mm-hmm. And I tried to inspire them to write something that was going to get them well known in the field. Mm-hmm. And I worked really hard with each student because they had to write reports. So I had them write reports that were meaningful. And, let me take this off. Mm-hmm. Sorry, let me take this off. Okay. I loved inspiring the students. One of the reasons I loved teaching that course is because students dreaded it. They usually took it their last semester at college because it was a required course. And most of them, when I started the first day, how many of you are graduating seniors? All the hands went up. And I said, well, you couldn't put it off any longer, could you? And at the end of the semester, they all loved it. And I got so many emails from them telling me how it was the most valuable course. So that's why I liked it, taking a very boring subject and making it interesting. But I worked very hard at it. And if you know college, you go 4 or 5 years and you pull all-nighters to do all your work. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't know if you can relate to that, but mm-hmm. I know when I was in college, I did that. But I had to pull all-nighters as a teacher. So I was a teacher for 40 years. Oh. And for 40 years, I was pulling all-nighters. Usually about once or twice a month, I would stay up all night and grade their reports. Mm-hmm. And it was really hard also because as I was inspiring my students, I was inspiring myself. So I got this idea right before I retired. And I had to retire. I retired at age 68. And I retired because I was just so full of ideas about what to do with my life. And so I decided, rather than just always inspire my students, why don't I inspire myself? Mm-hmm. So as I got older, I would go out to eat with friends. And I really had a problem going to restaurants because sometimes I just could not read the menu or the bill because the print was too small and the restaurant was too dark. Mm. So that's something that will happen to you when you get older. Usually when you hit 55, the eyes start going. And, so I would have a hard time. So we would pass around reading glasses. I usually forgot to bring mine. Or sometimes I would just ask the server, what's good on the menu? What's good? Mm-hmm. Because then I didn't have to read it. So I thought, you know what? There's got to be a solution. So then I invented this product, and it's called Tip and Split. Mm-hmm. You can see that, right?
I can see, yeah.
What it is, it has a magnifier, so you can read the small print, And if the restaurant is dark, it has a light that shines in the back. It's not really so distracting like the iPhone light. And then if you turn it on, it's sort of like a calculator, and you just type in the amount of the bill, you push enter, it'll ask you tip amount, and you can put in like 15, 20, 21, 22, whatever you want. You push enter, and then it'll ask if you want to split it. So if there are 5 people, you just type in 5, you push enter, and it'll tell you what each person pays, and you pass it around. So it's kind of fun. You know, it's like, oh my God, that's really easy. Now we can all add, we can all do it, but sometimes after a few drinks, it's a little bit harder to put on your math cap.
Right.
So I started inventing this while I was still teaching, and I told my students about it, and they said, you know, Mrs. Inukai, this is not just for old people, because when we go out with our friends and we go out drinking, we can't see anything.
Right.
So I started doing that, and as I was teaching, because I taught technical writing, I actually would assign my students little parts of their final report. One part was like an instruction manual. Whatever they were going to do, they had to write an instruction manual. So I wrote an instruction manual for myself, for my tip and split. And then they had to do like describing something. So I was working right with them. They didn't know it, but I was working right with them. Then I had them make brochures. I put them in teams, and I had them create fantastic brochures for their report. And so I made a brochure for myself, and then I couldn't do it anymore. I had to quit and just devote myself full time to my product.
Wow. So really use the time in class to help design this product. And it's great to have that feedback from people like in the early stages.
Oh, right. It was absolutely wonderful. And they kind of inspired me, and I was having them produce such good work, incredible work, because they were brilliant. They just needed a little help with their writing. So I invented that, and then I know a lot of inventors now because I am one. And so I wrote a book to help other inventors, and you mentioned it, and this is my book, and it says How I Got My Product on QVC, The Today Show, The View, and More in Retirement.
Right.
And so I just had so much fun because I taught writing, so I thought, why not use it? So I wrote that book, and it became a very good vehicle for speaking. So I've had like, usually when people retire, they start their second act. So my second act was inventing. Then my third act was to become a speaker.
Wow.
Okay. And actually now I'm in my fourth act.
Wow.
So,
an author was probably in there somewhere in between. Being an author was in there of your book, obviously, is a part of it too.
Right. Well, I've had so much fun with it, and I can send you one if you want it. And if any of your guests want it, they can contact me. You'll give them my email address, and I can just give them the PDF of this book.
Oh, wonderful! Oh, thank you.
In that.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, thank you. I'll put that information at the end of the show again to remind everyone. Thank you for that. That's wonderful.
So I actually love the name of your show called Beyond 6 Seconds, because that's basically what life is all about. You know, you get your 6 seconds that people find out about you, and that's it. But when COVID hit us, I became inspired again for my fourth act. And because I don't go any place, because I'm 72 years old and I'm in the high risk category, so I don't want anything coming near me. So I decided this was a great time to go through all my photo albums. And I'm of the age where we had photo albums. Right now, young people just have the smartphone, and all the photos are on there. But I had like 20 photo albums and lots of shoe boxes
Sure.
filled with pictures. So I gathered them and I actually made a different kind of life story. From a lot of people write a memoir, but they don't know how to get started. And I've had a few people contact me to help them with their memoir, and they said, it's 1,000 pages, Connie, can you help me? And I don't really want to do that.
No.
Because I kind of invented a different kind of photo album. It's not really new. Shutterfly does it all the time, these photo albums. But my book is this one. Can you see this?
Oh, there it is. Yep, I can see the top. I see it.
This is a picture of me when I was little.
Aww.
Okay, so this is my book, my memoir, and the good thing about it is it's almost all pictures and words, captions, pictures and captions. So it was very fun to create, and it's so much fun to read it because you don't have to go reading through like page after page of boring stuff. So this one is, I highlighted the most important things of my life that my kids were really eating it up. And one of my favorite things that I found, because I had to do a little research on this, and my grandparents are not alive, so I couldn't ask them, and my parents are actually not alive. But I found this picture. I don't know if you can see this picture. This one.
On the left.
Can you see that?
On the left.
That's a picture of my grandparents.
Oh, wow.
And they immigrated to the U.S. from Poland in 1912. And they actually had to cancel their trip, postpone their trip, because my grandma had morning sickness. And the trip that they canceled was on the Titanic.
Wow.
So so that, I'll tell you, my grandson, who's 8, absolutely loves that story, because before he heard about my grandparents, he watches everything Titanic on TV, everything Titanic. So I have like so many incredible stories to pass down to my children and grandchildren. And let me tell you why I started writing my book.
Yeah.
Because I believe it was in January or February that Kobe Bryant died. I'm sure you know that.
Oh, sure.
And it was so sad because he died with his daughter on a helicopter. And I was thinking about it. His kids, he's got 2 other kids or something, 2 other children. Everybody's going to know everything about him because he was all over the media. But who's going to know anything about me?
Right.
Like the average person, unless we tell them. So that's when I started getting inspired. And then we got COVID. So that's when I actually decided to actually sit down and write it, because I had a lot of time on my hands. Well, not really, but I wasn't going anyplace. So that's when I decided to do it. And now what I'm doing is I'm helping other people write their story, because a lot of people, everybody has a story to tell. Everyone has a story. They just don't know where to start.
Right. And this is your business called Write Your Selfie?
Yeah, because I'm an inventor. I'm into patents and trademarks, and I was trying to think of a good name. So I chose the name Write Your Selfie. And I actually trademarked the name, and I chose it because mainly the people who are going to be writing this are older people, and people my age are really not into selfies that much.
Right.
But this will make us feel like we're young again. Write your selfie. Yeah. So I actually just filed for the trademark, and because I'm an inventor, they all work together. I also filed a trademark for my business name, which is Grandmapreneur. And so after I filed it, I get so many letters from lawyers trying to help me get the trademark, because I filed an initial trademark, and then once it got passed, you have to pay some money, and then you have to like do a few other things, and I got about 15 lawyers trying to charge me like $1,000 and they'll do it for me, but I already did it myself.
Right.
So it's sort of like inventing.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about inventing. Zero. What did I know about it? But I can learn. Same thing as Zoom.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
know nothing about it, but we can learn.
Right. And we've all been learning new things, especially since COVID, just learning new ways of life and new tools.
Right.
And
Everything is new. And it's my weakness because I grew up way before computers.
Yeah.
Way before computers. So, it's not as easy for me as it is for other people, but I'm working around it. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. And I'm curious, since you said you had to teach yourself around the world of inventing when you had this idea and wanted to bring it to life, I feel like, because I see a lot of, I'm not an inventor myself, but I'll see advertisements for, here, work with us for your invention and we'll make it happen. And I often wonder if those are even legit or if that's how people do it. So how did you research the safest, the best way to invent and patent and bring something to the market?
I did find that most of those companies are ripoffs because I looked them up. There's a website called Ripoffs. And so I looked up companies, but I'll tell you, how did I do it? I did it by myself. But actually, I have to give a little credit to my ex-husband, who's brilliant mathematician and engineer and Japanese. That's how I got my name Inukai, from my ex-husband. And when I decided to invent something, I told him my idea, and he actually developed all the algorithms for this to make it run smoothly.
Wow.
And what he used to do, he's retired now too, but what he used to do is he used to figure out where to put satellites on Earth and on space to make the best reception. And he was a really well-known engineer and mathematician. So this has incredible experience behind my little simple thing. So I was very lucky, that he was able to help me all along the way, because I could have never done that.
Yeah. And then in terms of the production, like, how do you find a place to create a product like that?
Well, that's been actually my biggest pitfall.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to find a manufacturer, and when you're starting out, you don't know that. You don't know that you have to get somebody. You have to be recommended. So my first manufacturer, I went to an inventors trade show with supposedly with my product, and they hadn't even done it yet.
Wow.
So I already had a booth, and I actually brought pictures of it. And what I did was QVC was there at this inventors trade show, and they picked about 15 people to pitch a product. And I signed up for it, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't have my product yet, because my manufacturer. And I showed them pictures, I explained it, they loved it. And they said, please come back when you have the product. So the next year I went back, and I said to them, hi. I said, do you remember me? I was here last year. I waited a year. And they said, yes. And I said, well, you told me to come back with my product, so here it is. So they immediately put me on QVC.
Wow.
So I think what I do is, one of my things going for me is I don't take no very well. Because every time you hear a no, you have to turn it around to a well later, So then I ran into another bad manufacturer, and I met him at the trade show where I was at. And this man was a speaker about manufacturing. So I said, oh, do you think you can help me out? And he looked at my pictures and he said, that is engineering 101. It took them 1.5 years to mess it up. So I now am with my third manufacturer, but I actually put it on hold because of COVID.
Yeah.
Because this is a product to eat in restaurants, and I don't know. I don't want to encourage people to go to restaurants yet, just
Right.
outdoor ones. But you can still use this at outdoor restaurants.
That's
But now
great.
I have some very good news, and I'm going to be in 2 other places for
Nice.
Christmas.
That's
So
fantastic.
so I'm really, really excited.
That's great. Well, I'm
Yeah,
glad that Tip and Split is still moving along and finding success even in these challenging times where
yeah.
the one place you use it, it's not as, we're not there as much right now. That's
Well,
awesome.
more and more people are going to get bad eyes, and
Yeah.
they're going to need it,
Yeah.
as we get older.
Hmm.
And so I actually have terrible vision. I had LASIK surgery about 10 years ago,
Hmm.
but it doesn't help me with close-ups. It doesn't help me
Yeah.
with those things.
Hmm.
So you just have to like think about, when you get older, a lot of things you lose a lot of things. Like a lot of people lose their hearing, a
Yeah.
lot of people lose their vision, people lose other things, people lose friends. When you get older, we lose an awful lot, but what you have to do is you have to get over it and keep moving forward.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. And find ways to, bring solutions to the problems that, well, you're having and that other people are having as well, like Tip and Split. Absolutely. I could see how that really helps people.
Right, right. Well, I have a few other ideas in my head, but right now I'm concentrating on Write Your Selfie. But
Mm-hmm.
as I get older, I constantly get inspired by this breaking the myths of getting old.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was 40 years old, when I was 20, I thought 40 was like middle age,
Oh, yeah.
and 50 was sitting in a rocking chair, and 60 was dying. But that's not the case anymore. So I kind of get inspired by other people. Am
Yeah.
I talking too much?
No, not at all. I mean, it's something that I'm thinking about. I'm reflecting on my own attitudes about. It's like the older that I get, like all those ages that just seemed so old and far away. It's like,
Right,
it doesn't seem so old
right,
anymore. Yeah, puts it
right.
closer. So,
So I do a little bit of research about aging,
hmm.
and I found this story. I doubt if any of your viewers have heard of Satchel Paige. Have you ever heard of him?
The name
I
sounds
don't.
vaguely familiar, but no, I'm not familiar with
Well,
the
he
work.
was a baseball player, and he was
Ah,
not allowed to play baseball because he was black.
mm-hmm.
So he was on they called it the Negro Baseball League,
Uh-huh.
but he never gave up. And at age 48, he became a rookie baseball player.
Wow.
They finally let him in.
Mm-hmm.
And at age 59, he was pitching in the major leagues.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my God, what a story. Even if
Yeah.
people never heard of him, Satchel Paige, he didn't realize he was too old to be a rookie baseball player. Just like I don't realize I'm too old to do some of the things I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get inspired by people like George Foreman,
Mm-hmm.
who was a boxer, and now everybody knows him for his grill.
Yeah.
So he just completely pivoted because he was too
Absolutely.
old to box.
Yeah.
And then I think about other older people, and I think about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who's a total inspiration to me.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't let even cancer deter her from anything,
No.
and so it makes me feel young. And then my favorite one is Dr. Fauci.
Mm-hmm.
He's this really like old. I guess he's
Yeah.
about 79, but you wouldn't feel that when he talks.
Right.
He talks like a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
He talks like a 40-year-old,
Yeah.
a smart 40, 50-year-old
Mm-hmm.
with experience. So a lot of times, people who are older are sort of like 40-year-olds with 40 years more experience. So I get kind of inspired by that, and I'm no longer, when I turned 50, I was dreading it.
Really?
And when I turned 60, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, because those were the myths that I had heard.
Oh, yeah.
And when I turned 70, I kind of feel good.
Yeah.
So I can say it, because I'm still reinventing myself.
Wow.
So I think that, what the message I would like to give to your viewers is to, no matter what age you are, passion has no expiration date.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We can be passionate at any age. And sometimes I think that, young kids have all the wonder in them, but there's nothing that says that we can't also at any age.
Yeah, absolutely.
It keeps me young. I have 2 grandchildren who live with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like this nighttime, because I usually do all my creative thoughts early in the morning or late at night.
Mm-hmm.
Because during the daytime, I love to play with them.
Oh, that's
Your
great.
children?
Yeah. I don't have children myself, no.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you, I absolutely love with having kids, except that my 4-year-old granddaughter knows now she can't ask me to play on the floor with her baby dolls. Oh. Because I can't get back up.
Yeah.
It's a little problem. Mm-hmm. I can play with her, but she now knows, she's trained, when she wants to play with me, she has to bring the stuff to the table or to the couch.
Oh, that's funny.
So that kind of keeps me young too.
Yeah. And that's wonderful, because your idea for Write Your Selfie was, as you said, to help your grandchildren get to know you and really get to know who you are as a person and the whole history of not just you, but the whole family, it seems like. So
Right, exactly. Well, I have a large family. I have 4 brothers and 1 sister. Mm-hmm. And I'm the second oldest. And so when I did it, they all loved it. And I actually went to them for some of the facts that were, I wanted to make sure that they were correct. Of course, I was the second oldest, so I know more than everyone except my older sister. She's 1 year older than me. Mm-hmm. But one of my brothers did correct me, because I have a picture of our house. I grew up in Cleveland, mm-hmm. And my dad built a family room onto our house, mm-hmm. like because there were 6 kids. So he built a sunken family room. Mm-hmm. And one day I don't know where they were, but my brother took a hose to it, and we were trying to make it into a swimming pool. So I told that little story in my book, and my kids like it because, they like the fact that we were kids once too. Mm-hmm. And what I got from my brother when he read my book is, Connie, you got it wrong. I'm the one who got the idea and brought in the hose.
He wants credit for it.
Yeah. So anyway, but they're all enjoying it. And my siblings will have a very good time writing theirs because they can just borrow all of my pictures from it. But I focused on my family. Like I had like a few pictures of my family growing up. And then I really didn't talk about their children because I have 3 children of my own and mm-hmm. 5 grandchildren. So this is my book. So I wanted to write it for my children and my grandchildren. So I had a lot of fun doing it.
That's great. And when you work with other people as part of Write Your Selfie to help them write their own stories, kind of what's the process? Like, do you have them bring a collection of pictures and then go through it and get the story that way? Or how do you work with people?
Well, usually what people, everybody can do this, gather their pictures. So usually what I do is I tell them, okay, now start gathering your pictures. Mm-hmm. And then I have a private Facebook group where we can share them and we can think about, oh, maybe this is a better caption. You know, because actually my sister helped me with one of my captions. She said, Connie, write it like this, and it's perfect. So we just share ideas. But if anybody wants to do it, the reason that I'm doing it, anybody can write it themselves. They don't need me, okay? I'm just going to say that. Nobody needs me. But I'm there for accountability. So they have to check in. They have to show what they've done.
Yeah.
And they can get feedback. And I was a writing teacher, so if they have any kind of grammar errors, I can fix that for them. So that's why I decided to do it. But if anybody wants to look at it, I have my book on my website, which I actually developed. I'm still working on making some improvements, but it's called www.writeyourselfie.com. And if you subscribe to it, I give like little tips about what to do with writing a book. You don't even have to buy my course, which is only like $97. I try to make it affordable, but you can get my tips without even joining, without even taking my course. So how do I help them? It's mainly just to share. And when you're my age, you love to share pictures. And some people say, which one do you think is better? Well, because I'm impartial, I could probably say this one,
right?
So
Yeah,
that's how I help them.
That's helpful sometimes, just to have someone there to kind of coach you and guide you through it. Because I'd imagine a lot of people are not, maybe, as you said, don't really know where to start and don't even know how to research it. So having someone who's done it is helpful. Right.
Well, what I'd really like to do is go on, get a sponsorship from Ancestry.com, because I think that I refer people to that. It doesn't cost a lot to join, but they also have a free membership for 30 days, and I only used it for about 10 days. 10 days on and off, and I looked up my ancestors.
Wonderful. So the sponsorship too, I'm sorry, it got a little garbled in the sound. What was the name of it again?
Ancestry.com.
Ah, yes, of course.
Yeah, I think they might like to work with me because I could send people to them.
Yeah.
Except I might send them to them and say, you don't have to pay. But, I think that people should use their money wisely.
Yeah.
Like if people don't have to pay for my course, they can, my goal is not to make a lot of money. It's really to help people. Because I think that everybody who hears about my Write Your Selfie says, oh my God, I wish my parents had done this. Or I wish my grandparents had done this, because they're no longer here and now they don't know those stories.
Yeah.
So I say, well, good, you're writing yours. So your grandchildren will know, or your siblings will know, or your friends will know.
Yeah.
So, so I had a lot of fun doing it. And it was a perfect project to do during COVID.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think sharing your story is one of the most powerful things that you can do, because you said everyone has a story, and it's something that people, especially close to you, really need to know.
Do you have a good story?
As I do podcasts and as I guest on other people's podcasts, I do kind of work through my own story, and I probably have several depending on which parts of it I want to highlight for whom. Right,
exactly. So you have a lot of stories. So what I did basically is sort of like chronological order of my life. I could do so many other stories, but I just wanted to let my kids know. But you probably have so many stories. So as you're doing these, write them down, and then you can take pictures of them, or you can, for mine, sometimes I don't have a picture. So, for example, when I just finished high school, right before college, I worked at an amusement park in Ohio called Cedar Point. I don't know if you ever heard about it, but they have the oldest and the biggest roller coaster in the country.
Okay.
And it was like a very fun job, a summer job that I did for 2 summers. And I wanted to put that in my book. And imagine my age, like having pictures back then, but I found like 2 pictures of me at Cedar Point. But then I did a Google search and I found the big sign for Cedar Point. So I put that in my book too.
Mm-hmm.
So you can always, you know, you can always Google things, you know, like you can Google, you can put a picture of your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have in my book, I have one page with my inventions on it. And in doing my research, I realized, I knew this, but I never thought of the connection. My dad was an inventor.
Oh.
And I didn't realize where I got it from. But my dad was a barber in World War II.
Yeah. Wow.
And when he came home, he took a metal comb. This is like a long time ago. This is older than me. He took this metal comb and connected it with a heating element. So you could comb your hair and dry it at the same time.
Wow.
Now imagine, this is like, I'm 72. This is about 70 years.
Wow.
I remember it when I was a little girl. So this is about 65 years ago, way before they had, you know, curling irons and all that kind of stuff. My dad invented it, but he never got a patent. But I did.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah, so I like, as I was reminiscing, I was thinking about all these interesting stories. And I was going through pictures, and I found out one of my aunts was an inventor.
Wow.
Which is really something, because that's old, you know, and they didn't have female inventors in those days.
Right.
Well, I guess they did, but we just never heard about them.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
that's amazing.
So I actually, the thing I really like talking about is have a positive attitude. Always have a smile on your face. Wake up with a smile, and your life will be happier.
Yeah.
And ageism should not be a problem. You know, everybody dies at some point, but it's not how you die, it's how you live.
Right.
So I've had a very, very interesting and fun life, and I've got a lot more to go.
Right. Oh, fantastic. Wow. So if people want to get in touch with you to learn more about Write Your Selfie, or, you know, learn more about your book, where's the best place for them to find you online?
Well, I have a website now for Write Your Selfie. It's writeyourselfie.com. And I have a website for Tip and Split. But I made one other website, and it's called grandmapreneurinventor.com, and it has all of those sites on it, I think. So you can find Tip and Split on there, and you can find Write Your Selfie at the top, you know, in the menu. So I thought that's the easiest way to do it. So actually, when I was doing that website, I wanted to be just called grandmapreneur.com, but GoDaddy wanted me to pay $1,500 for that domain name.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, ridiculous. So I just did Grandmapreneur Inventor, because that was free.
Yeah, no, that's a better price. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so yeah, I'll put your website, I'll put grandmapreneurinventor.com in the show notes so that people can click on it really easily. And then if people want to get a free PDF of your book, can they reach you through that website, or is there?
Yeah, you know, they can reach me. The best way to do it, let me think. The best way to do it is, I don't think I have a subscribe menu on Grandmapreneur, but I do have it on Write Your Selfie. So they can also go to Write Your Selfie right from the menu of Grandmapreneur and subscribe to it. And I think if they say that they watched your podcast beyond 6 seconds. Beyond 6 seconds. I wanted to say 60, because that's a minute, but we only get 6.
Only 6.
If they do that, I will immediately send them. They can subscribe to my Write Your Selfie, and I will send them my book.
Fantastic. So I'll put that information in the show notes as well, so that it's there for easy reference.
You're very lovely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Connie, for being a guest on my show. You know, as we close out, is there Anything else you'd like our guests to know, or any other ways they can help or support you with your projects?
Well, I'm trying to learn all about social media. So if anybody wants to go to, what is it, Instagram, they can like me on Instagram. I'm their Grandmapreneur Inventor.
Fantastic. All right.
So on Instagram, Grandmapreneur Inventor.
Cool. All right. I'll put that link in there too, so they can
because I'm
follow
trying
you.
To grow. I'm trying to grow, to get some followers. I'm not really sure why. Why do I need followers?
Instagram, I'm on there too, which is odd for a podcast because it's all pictures, but I don't know. There's just different people there, so it's all about where your audience is and where your customers are.
One of the reasons you need an Instagram following is because I'm going to be a speaker at a women's event in October, unless it's canceled, or maybe they change it to virtual, probably in October still. They asked me what's my Instagram following.
Wow.
So I only had about 100 people. So I asked all my friends to please follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
So now I have 2,000 followers.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I think it's good if you want to ever be a speaker, they ask you who's your following. Yeah. I don't know yet what to do with it, but I think it's important.
Well, that's a great tip. That's great. I never even thought of it.
Well, I'll follow you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll make sure I'm following you. I don't know if I am, but I will as soon as we stop recording this interview.
Grandmapreneur Inventor. And anyone who follows me, I'll follow them right back.
Fantastic.
In case they need it for some unknown reason that they'll find out later.
We could all help each other with that.
Yeah, it doesn't cost any money, right?
That's true. Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks again, Connie, for being on my show. I really appreciate you sharing your story today.
Okay. Thank you very much too, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Okay. And have a nice evening.
Yeah. Have a great night.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.